I was still pale from the hospital lights when I walked into the living room. Mom leaned back on the couch, arms folded, lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Thanks to your ring," she said, voice dripping with pride, "your brother finally got what he deserved." I laughed. Not loud, just sharp enough to cut through her self-satisfaction. Her eyes narrowed. "What's so funny?" That was the moment her grin began to slip. The ring wasn't just jewelry, it was a promise. The only thing I had left after my fiancé died in that car accident 2 years ago. It wasn't about the $18,000, it was about the nights we planned a future, the weight of his hand covering mine, the way he whispered that he'd chosen forever. I wore it every day. Even in the hospital bed, it sat in its velvet box on the nightstand, safe. At least, I thought it was. My parents never cared much for sentiment. My brother was their golden boy. Everything bent to his whims. If he wanted something, the world rearranged itself to make it happen. I thought I was used to it, until I came home to find the box empty. The signs had been there. The nurse who told me my mother had been organizing my belongings while I slept. The way my father avoided my eyes when I asked about the safe deposit box. My brother's smug smirk when he posted pictures from his extravagant dream party. A rooftop banquet, designer suit, champagne towers glittering under the lights. I knew exactly where the money had come from before anyone said a word. And when my mother finally admitted it, no, bragged about it, it didn't sting the way they expected. It lit something colder. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I planned. The truth they never understood was that my fiancé had been careful, meticulous. He knew my family. He knew how quickly sentiment could be turned into profit. So when he bought the ring, he bought two. The diamond they sold was glass, an identical copy he'd had made as a safeguard. The real one stayed locked away in a safety deposit box only I could access. So when my parents thought they were pawning off my future, they were really just peddling a stone worth a few $100s, and I let them. But a simple switch wasn't enough. Revenge had to be thorough, deliberate. Step 1, I made copies of the pawn receipt my father left lying on his desk. Careless, arrogant. It listed the sale price. Pitiful. Step 2, I reached out to the bank, transferred the real diamond to a new safe box under a trust name they'd never connect to me, watched the clerk seal it away, untouchable. Step 3, I started talking. Casually at first. At a family gathering, I mentioned the ring, how my parents had sold it, how generous I thought it was of them to sacrifice my future for my brother's temporary thrill. The whispers spread faster than fire. Aunts, uncles, cousins, they all looked at my parents differently after that. Not with admiration, but disgust. The confrontation came a week later. Mom stormed into my room, face red, voice sharp. "Why would you tell them? Do you have any idea how humiliated we are?" I closed my book slowly, savoring the silence before I answered. "You humiliated yourselves." Her mouth opened, but no sound came. For once, she didn't have a retort. Then my brother barged in, demanding his share of what was left of the ring money. Apparently, the pawn shop hadn't given as much as he'd expected, and now his credit cards were screaming. I turned to him, calm, steady. "You really think there was anything left to take?" His brow furrowed, confusion battling arrogance. That's when I told them. About the replica. About how they sold glass while the real diamond stayed locked away untouched. About how their triumph had been nothing more than a cheap con of their own making. The silence that followed was perfect. Mom's face drained of color. My father sat down heavily, like the weight of his own foolishness had finally crushed him. My brother cursed, his fists clenching, then unclenching when he realized there was nothing he could do. "You're lying," Mom whispered, but even she didn't believe it. I stood, walked past them, and opened the front door. out. They hesitated, but something in my voice left no room for defiance. They left, their empire of manipulation crumbling behind them. Now, weeks later, the house is quiet, peaceful. The ring rests in its velvet box, safe, glowing softly in the lamplight. Not just a reminder of love lost, but of the strength I found in its shadow. Do I regret it? No. They stole, they betrayed, they revealed exactly what I'd always suspected, that their love was conditional, transactional, hollow. But I didn't just survive their betrayal, I turned it into their downfall. The brother who always got everything now drowns in debt. The parents who worshipped him now endure whispers, pity, shame. Their golden boy is tarnished. They